Wednesday night. It's December 28th, 2022. Hope everybody out there had a good Christmas. Coming up on New Year's. This is the last episode of last 2022 episode, I should say, of the Kicking Out podcast. So tonight we're switching gears a little bit. We're not covering Dynamite, at least in full tonight, even though it was an amazing Dynamite, maybe the best of the year. Of course it would be, the night we just decided to change directions. But instead we're going to be talking about the crazy year that has been 2022 for AEW. Looking back on Paul and I's 2022 predictions and making our own predictions for 2023. And we're all supposed to have a big, bold prediction. So looking forward to seeing how bad we whiff on those. But I'm Tanner Lee back this week. And thank you to my co-hosts, Paul Zarman and Austin Shepard, who are here with me for holding down the fort last week. What's going on, guys?
Well, if it keeps up, we're going to strip you of that KOP title because, you know, as a champion, you should be here every show, and you're missing a lot here lately.
You know I'm going with the MJF strategy. You know.
Oh, you holding out for more money.
My booking fees are going up.
Oh, all right, Sammy and Ty.
Hey, she made her appearance tonight, so.
Well, yes, but they were supposed to defend the AAA Mixed Tag Team Championship, and that's the angle they went with, is that they were demanding too much money, and they refused to pay them.
I'm guessing the AEW AAA partnership isn't going as good as they hoped, because it feels like a lot of the talent hasn't really shown up to AAA when they were supposed to.
Well, two gentlemen showed up, and they shouldn't have. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well,
I won't break Shep's heart this early on in the show.
I think we'll have more positive things to talk about FTR than negative tonight. So I don't think that's any reason to not talk about FTR. But I thought we'd start off just kind of going through the year of 2022, and AEW is kind of like I was going through quarter by quarter, and there was about 2 events that happened per quarter. It seemed like that were worth talking about, and it kind of started in February. It actually did start on February 15th, which I remember that because that was my 30th birthday this year, when the news broke that Cody Rhodes was not going to be renewing his deal with AEW, and he was heading back to where he started his career in WWE. Looking back on it, you guys think Cody made the right decision?
For Cody, yes.
Yeah.
Selfishly for AEW, didn't want to see him go.
Agreed.
After he had that banger of a ladder match with Sammy. I mean, a stupid ladder match.
Yeah.
And then he, you know, I think he got paid.
Mm-hmm.
And he returned at WrestleMania to maybe the best pop of WrestleMania. I can't remember. I watched it just a little bit. I believe that was night 1.
It was night 1. Yep.
It was night 1. Yes.
So the pop of the night 2 was McAfee and
Austin,
and
Stone
Theory,
Cold,
and Vince,
yeah.
and Stone Cold, and yeah.
So yeah, I think he made the right decision. He got hurt, and I would put his match hurt with Rollins at Hell in a Cell maybe a match of the year category.
Yeah. Oh yeah, by far.
Yeah.
It's one of those matches that surpassed the wrestling fandom.
No, I agree with what you said, Shep. I think for himself, I mean, he even said he was just ready to leave the territories, as his dad used to say, and ready to go win the big one his dad couldn't win. I still think there's a lot more to it that maybe someday we'll learn, but he and Tony Khan have kind of agreed not to talk about it. Tony Khan was on the Fightful's Grapsody podcast this past week and really talked highly of Cody, said they're still friends, and because he was mentioning anytime you lose a talent of his caliber, it hurts the company in many different ways. And I think we saw that for a while with the storytelling in AEW. It really lacked for a while after Cody left. And selfishly, as a big Cody Rhodes fan, I was eager to see where his character was going in 2022 because I think we were setting up for an eventual heel turn. Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know because he teased it a lot.
I think at some point he'll return to AEW. It's not going to be in 2023. It's not going to be in 24. I think he returns and he becomes, he comes out and he says, "Hey, I'm going to stick to my guns. I said when I was here previously that I wouldn't challenge for the title." And then we'll see a title eliminator tournament or something, and he'll enter himself and he'll win it. And he'll say, "Oh, my bad. I lied."
I was thinking about that today. I could see him eventually returning to AEW way down the road, maybe to end his career. But I don't know what his deal is with WWE, and whatever it was, add more time to it for being injured. So, yeah. But he should be coming back, I would presume, in the next month to WWE. He was on Raw this week. I did tune in for that. He did a satellite interview or whatever you call them now, Zoom interview. I don't know what they use.
Yeah.
I would say he's got to be my pick to win the Rumble right now.
I think so. I
Oh,
think
yeah.
so. Yeah. I think.
Yeah.
I was telling Paul before we got on there. The dirt sheets. The rumor is they're going to try to get the WWE title off of Reigns. Maybe put it on Rollins. Then there's your night one main events, Rollins and Cody for that title. Then your night twos, Roman and The Rock for the other title. Which that match doesn't need a title, but so be it.
Unless you're looking to eliminate one.
Yeah. Well,
The
right
Rock,
now,
or introduce a new design. That'd be what The Rock would be good for.
if I'm not mistaken, Raw, since Roman doesn't appear on Raw very much, Raw doesn't even have a title right now. So he can't have that.
Right.
To having two
Right.
premiere shows. So after that, Cody news in February, then AEW Revolution, the first pay-per-view of 2022 happened. And really, in my notes, the main thing I wrote down was the dog collar match. CM Punk, MJF kind of stole the show that night down in Orlando. It was also the AEW debut of William Regal and the formation of the Blackpool Combat Club with Danielson and Moxley, because those two went at it in a very fun physical match that night too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, the best part about that was the mic work leading up to that match between MJF and Punk.
Yep.
I thought that overshadowed maybe actually a little bit of some of the match, but
Well, and also, and I didn't remember this till tonight when I was going back and doing some note taking. That's the night Wardlow officially turned on MJF. Remember, he slid the diamond ring to Punk. So, yeah.
Yep.
which he needed to get Warlord off of MJF for him to make that run.
And in that main event that night, I mean, it was a good match, but it wasn't the match everybody was talking about. Adam Cole and Hangman Adam Page. I mean, it was fine, but everybody knew Cole wasn't going to take it off Hangman that quickly after he won it at Full Gear. So
No.
and then in April, Tony Khan buys Ring of Honor, which
It was that long ago.
yeah, it was.
8 months. Come on.
Or it might have
Tony.
been. It might have been March even.
Oh man, come on.
Might have been
Tony.
March because I think it technically was under his reign when they put on that show in Dallas in WrestleMania weekend in early April, actually. So I know everybody was excited for him.
He announced it like the week before that.
Yeah, it was.
Because
Yeah,
that was the first glimpse we got of after the Briscoes won, FTR showed up.
right.
So it was I don't know if it was literally a week, but it was within the month.
Yeah,
And he still produced that show.
yep. Because the Bucks made an appearance on that show, and then Samoa Joe was the big thing of the night that night, appearing after the main event. So
Yeah.
being signed, being all elite. But yeah, that was something I didn't have in my 2022 bingo card was TK buying Ring of Honor.
No. And then hopefully you didn't put a TV deal on your bingo card after he bought it.
Did not. I
Okay.
thought we'd have one by now, but we'll see what happens in the next month. We'll see what happens in the next month or so.
Yeah.
Then in May, we had Double or Nothing back in Vegas at T-Mobile Arena. CM Punk wins the AEW title over Hangman Adam Page. Little did we know what that was going to transpire to in the following months. But also that night, we had Anarchy in the Arena match, which was a fun one. Eddie Kingston coming out, walking like a zombie, all bloodied up, dumping the gas on Jericho, then getting into it with Danielson, which I really hope they revisit that sometime. I want to see that feud really bad. But maybe down the road. And there were some other good ones. Of course, the MJF storyline around Double or Nothing. Was he going to appear? Because, he hightails it out or doesn't even show up of the meet and greet. I suppose he had a plane ticket ready to get out of Vegas. But he shows up and does the job to Wardlow in a squash match, and Wardlow becomes All Elite. So those were kind of the big headlines coming out of Double or Nothing. But I remember feeling good as far as a fan in the shape the company was in coming out of Double or Nothing. But boy, did we not know what was coming up.
Things change.
Things change. Things change. Dives into the crowd, break bones in your foot. That's unfortunately what happened. The following Dynamite, FTR and Punk were in a trios match, and Punk dives into the crowd and breaks his foot. And what was supposed to be a big setup for Forbidden Door started a road of many, many injuries towards Forbidden Door, which was still a fun pay-per-view in the United Center. New Japan, AEW did really well by rating. Did really well in the gates, but it was not the card we were all hoping to get because of injuries and just bad luck, to be honest.
Yeah.
And speaking of that match where Punk broke his foot, I think they announced it drops at midnight tonight. My boy Dax coming out with his own podcast, and his first guest is Punk.
It's already number one on the wrestling podcast.
It had a 3-minute intro, and it's number one.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good podcast.
And I guess looking at it, just leading up to it, we don't know what truly happened.
Probably never will
in the investigation, and I'm sure we'll get into that a little bit ago. But as I feel as Dax is respected in the professional wrestling industry right now. Cornette loves him, and he doesn't like anybody. Okay.
Yeah.
He
hates those guys on KOP too.
Don't get me started with Cornette. We'll get into political stuff. And
we don't need to go down that hole.
I was trying to get a rabbit hole started.
He comes out and just does not talk bad at all about Punk. Very respectful. So I'm not staying up till midnight unless you guys keep on talking. But that'll definitely be on a playlist tomorrow.
Yep, I'm right there with you. I already subscribed, so I'm ready. I'm ready to go. It'll be on while I work tomorrow. So after Forbidden Door getting the road to All Out, Punk returns after Moxley wins the title at Forbidden Door against Tanahashi because Punk had to vacate it. Thank you. I couldn't think of the word. At Rampage, following that Dynamite that he broke his foot. So Punk returns, has a weird feud with Moxley. Still weird to this day. I mean, he drops the title. We're thinking we're getting the match at All Out, and then he drops it in nope, we're doing this match next week, which ends up being like a 2 to 3 minute squash. Moxley wins it back, or Punk doesn't drop it, but Moxley retains it, I guess I should say.
Yeah, but didn't Punk try to kick with that foot?
That was the storyline. Then we got the rematch at All Out, but to go home to All Out, we get Ace Steel. Makes an appearance on TV. We don't know who this guy is coming out. Then explains he's Punk's friend. He drops the F-bomb on live television. Punk accepts Mox's challenge, or maybe challenged Moxley. I don't remember the order. But
accepts it.
We get it at All Out. So the main event's set there. And then at All Out, we have the Elite win the trios that are introduced. They win the trios tournament over Dark Order and Hangman Adam Page. So they're the first trios champions. Punk wins the main event over Moxley to win his title back. But in the post pay-per-view media scrum,
he had too much chocolate sweets.
He had too much something because he kind of starts with Nick Hausman and talking about Scott Colton, a.k.a. Colt Cabana. Goes off a rant calling Adam Page a stupid-headed, dumb F. I'll keep it clean tonight. So we don't have explicit 3 weeks in a row. And then he goes after the EVPs, saying they can't manage the targets. Just goes on and ran for like 30 minutes. And I remember watching it like, am I really seeing what like is this real? And we've talked about the brawl out, the media scrum and then the fight involving Punk and the Elite afterwards and Ace Steel. We've talked about that more than we've talked about any topic in the 2-year existence of this podcast, but I don't think it's going away anytime soon. I mean, Fightful Select was talking about their year in review. They said that is the most talked about, visited, most clicked thing on their website, and that includes a year that Vince McMahon steps away from WWE, Cody Rhodes returns to the WWE, and Stone Cold Steve Austin comes out of retirement to do a match. They said Stone Cold was like 5th on their most clicked and read news, which is incredible if you think about it before the year. If you would have told me that, it's like, well, that's number one. But
Yeah.
But I guess my question to you guys, and I could have waited for this later, if you had to guess right now in your crystal ball, do we see CM Punk back in AEW in 2023?
No.
If
you see him anywhere, it's WWE.
Yeah.
I agree with you both. I think they would be smart to make this an angle if they could work together and make tons and tons of money. I just, with everything, Matt and Nick Jackson talking about how it was 2 months, the hardest 2 months of their life. Punk's a pretty stubborn guy, as we know. I just don't see them agreeing to do business. If he does come back, I don't see them all doing business together. I think he would be put in something else. But unfortunately, I don't think we'll see Punk back. I don't know if he'll ever wrestle again. And it just stinks because we were left with a lot of unfinished stories and potential matches that we will never get.
Now, he tore a pec in that match, right?
He did.
Yes.
So he's on the shelf anyways with injury.
He was on the shelf for 6 to 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
So we're 4 months into that.
4,
Yeah.
yep.
So well, that's pretty close to Mania time, boys.
I know. But he's still under contract as far as we know.
Yeah. There was a talk of a buyout, and then all of a sudden those talks just quit.
Which
Everything
I have
went
seen some
silent.
dirt sheets said the more silent right now, the better for people hoping Punk might come back. But I don't know. It just depends who you talk to or who you follow out there in the pro wrestling media world. I don't know. I wish they could make it all work, but I just think there's too many legality reasons involved, and
I was still waiting for. I know the Bucks were trolling him when they came back a little bit. I'm still waiting. They came out with a Bucks shirt with the Chicago flag. I'm still waiting on a Bucks Target employee shirt.
well, even tonight when Nick Jackson throws 2 chairs, my first thought is Ace Steel throwing chairs at him.
Yeah,
I'm like, is that I'm sure it wasn't, but I'm like, is that a callback to that?
yeah. They kind of let that go since they came back.
Yeah.
They did it. They did it a couple times and got their point across. I mean,
Yeah.
I think even when we were down in Indy, that Chicago Buck shirt's still for sale.
Yeah.
And there was a couple in the crowd I saw.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool design. Cool design.
So,
After all that happened, Tony had to reverse plans yet again because his trios champions and his world champion was suspended. So had to do a lot of work heading up the Grand Slam, which we saw Death Triangle become the new trios champions. At Grand Slam, we saw Jericho become the Ocho, beating Claudio Castagnoli and winning the ROH title, which didn't have that on my 2022 bingo card. And we saw Moxley win yet again the AEW World title. So Grand Slam was a big event. And we saw Saraya make her AEW debut, which was big time since she hadn't been in a ring in many years.
I thought that was one of the better pay-per-views that we got to see this year. And not just because of the surprises, just it was one of the more well-rounded shows they put on.
Sure.
I really enjoyed that one of this year. And seeing Saraya back, I think it's been 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, and about a month later, you could tell she was released because she got into some physical altercations. And then obviously we ended up seeing her with the match with DMD. But good to see her back.
And going back to All Out, and this is exactly what happened. I feel bad for. I forgot about the MJF return. See, because everything else overshadowed it. And that's exactly what happened. That should have been what everybody was talking about, but everybody was talking about the aftermath of the pay-per-view. And here I go. I didn't mean to forget about that, but that's what I did.
That's the way that works, though.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it until the news of the fight broke out, and then it just, MJF is back.
Because I think, Tony's talked about they had to do so much reverse course reshifting this year in 2022. I think the plan was if Punk would have never got hurt after Double or Nothing, I think he was supposed to have a reign clear to Full Gear, and then MJF would take the title off of him. I think that was the plan, but
it
wasn't meant to be. And supposedly, according to Dax, that we'll hear on the podcast tomorrow, Punk didn't even want the title to begin with.
Yeah,
but he gave in because he knew it would be good for the company.
He had to elevate the company. Yep. His name would.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So after those champions were crowned at Grand Slam, we saw William Regal and MJF go back and forth, some legendary promos for weeks in the build-up to MJF versus John Moxley at Full Gear. Then at Full Gear, we saw Saraya return against Dr. Britt Baker, like Shep was saying. We also saw the Elite return to action and take on the Death Triangle, even though they lost that match. That would lead to what has become a best-of-7 series, which after tonight, we are going to match number 7 in 2 weeks in a forum. January 11th will be a ladder match. That's going to be crazy. They've already put their body. They've already put their. Oh yeah, I thought some guys got hurt tonight, but they've put their bodies through hell, and they haven't even faced the most dangerous match yet of the 7.
Can I just say TK needs to have at least 2 stretchers ringside, one for Nick, one for Phoenix?
Yeah. There was a couple spots tonight. I'm like, oh my god! I hope they're okay. And I know Mrs. Matt Jackson's wife, does not like the ladder match. These two or tag teams, the Lucha Bros and Young Bucks did a couple years ago. She couldn't watch it, and I'm like, no. I think this one's going to take the cake even to another level. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. I've enjoyed the best of 7 series. Unfortunately, and I know you guys kind of hit on this last week, I think we saw the worst match of the 7 series.
Yeah, we did.
So we saw that back and forth with Regal and MJF. Then at Full Gear, Regal turns his back on Moxley in the BCC, slides the diamond ring to MJF. MJF hits Mox with it, becomes the world champion. And then my last storyline for the year was Regal ends up leaving AEW and is going back to WWE.
3 days from the moment we were recording this.
Right.
So you look at that, and I listened to TK talk about it a little bit. I think he was on Busted Open after the fact. Has nothing but good to say about Regal. Completely understood what he wanted to do and go back to WWE and accomplish. Mm-hmm. And if you listen to what Regal said, when Regal went to Vince McMahon and said, I have this opportunity to do this, Vince didn't even blink an eye and says, go do it.
Which was surprising to hear.
Yeah.
So I almost feel like out of respect, TK did that back.
Yep.
William Regal's son is coming up in NXT. He wants to be there to train him and work with him. Can't blame him there. What he did, the short stint in AEW, I think was good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed his work. But he is a NXT. I don't call him a legend because NXT hadn't been around that long. I mean, it has been, but not really. But the work he's done in NXT back in the day was some of the best work ever.
Yeah.
With some of the talent he had with Bayley and Sasha, Andrade and Gargano. I remember that match was stupid good.
He had Malachi. He had
So
let's
Bobby Roode before they screwed him up when they called him up.
Yeah. Let's
Adam
not forget,
Cole.
Before that, he had the Nexus.
Yeah.
That's how long this has been around.
Yeah.
It was just under a different name, and Regal's been there since day one.
Yeah, and then the stuff, and I've watched a little bit of FCW back in the day. Yeah, it's on the network.
Yeah.
Peacock.
Peacock's the worst stupid
Oh my God.
platform. It's
Anyways,
so hard to navigate.
back when the network was cool.
Yeah.
And they had some really awesome documentaries and shows. I watched some SCW back then, and William he ran it.
Yep.
There's a lot of guys that owe him a lot of gratitude for the money they're making nowadays because of what he did.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. And Tony, on that same podcast you were referencing, Shep, he was going through a lot of stuff between Forbidden Door and Grand Slam, all out with his mother's health. And that's when a lot of this Regal stuff came up too. And, I think that had a lot to do with it too.
I agree.
Just the family ties of the situation. So.
Yeah, speaking, not to give a shameless plug, because I don't do that. Nothing's free. But the new Ric Flair doc on Peacock, which to me has a lot of WWE feel. I know they had their touch on it.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I think ESPN had some touch on it too.
They did. Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of documentaries out there about Rick.
Yeah.
They made fun of him for doing this on some podcasts because he needed the money. He's doing it because of the money. He needs the money. I can let you guys guess who those two jackalopes are.
Yeah.
But I thought this was one of the
Yeah.
This was maybe the best one done about Rick.
I watched it yesterday and really enjoyed it. It's hard for me to watch something and not look at my phone, and for the hour 50 minutes or whatever it was, I was pretty tuned in.
It was a longer documentary.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, an hour 50 minutes, that's as long as a movie nowadays.
It's incredible that guy's not only alive, but even in the shape he's in right now.
Not only alive, the guy's still look, I enjoy my adult beverages. We know that. He drank 30 to 40 vodkas a day.
I know. I just don't know how your body just doesn't shut down.
Better step your game up, Shep.
No.
I mean that was.
And then even afterwards, when he gets back and he's better, he talks about, well, I have a couple Michelob Ultras, but that's not alcohol. That's not booze. I have some champagne, but that's not booze.
Yeah, it was unbelievable, some of the stories.
Although I do have a connection with Flair. We do drink.
One.
Well, yep. I mean, only the great ones drink.
Kettle, if you want to throw some sponsorship money to this podcast, I wouldn't.
It's true. It's true, Kettle. I've had plenty of Kettle on this podcast.
But, as we're talking about Flair and his large amount of vodka per day consumption, let's not forget Flair's one of the only men that I know of in history to be kicked out of the city of Fort Wayne.
Yeah, I remember he was there for a signing. It made our local news. But the bar he was at, I frequent that bar. I used to. It's right on the river, downtown. Great place. Mm-hmm. I've never had anything but great experiences there. Of course, I've never been probably blacked out drunk like he was. And
it's the Gas House. Yeah, I love the Gas House. Yeah. I just looked it up on Google, and I've been there a couple times and did not know he was there. Wow.
Yeah. So the Gas House is like the elderly dinner club on the lower level. On top is a hibachi grill, tapioca. Yes. Yep. And they have this awesome bar overlooking the river right there. Mm-hmm. Great place.
The deck.
Yeah. Yep. Freaking, you got kicked out of that. But
yeah, that's pretty hard to do. That was back in 2017.
Yeah.
Yep. So
well, then this made, I know rabbit hole number one. About a week ago, was on social media. A girl saw Flair at a bar, and the friend said, I know you don't know who he is, but go get your picture with him. He's famous. She approached him and said, I have no idea who you are, but I want your picture. He was pretty short and rude.
He was. Nope, not happening.
Yeah. But hey, good for Flair. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, I didn't get mad at him about that because I'm like,
she was rude. The way she approached it,
she was rude, and if I'm Flair, I'm like, I've gotten enough sticky situations. I'm on marriage number 4 or 5 or whatever it is. I'm good.
75.
How she is still married to him today?
I don't know. It's incredible.
Good for Flair. Speaking of that, I think we'll see Charlotte a surprise entry of the Rumble.
Yeah, she's got to be coming back soon. She's cleared. Like, there's nothing wrong with her, even though her husband, he's going through some rehab. But
yeah. Anyways, all right. Done with rabbit hole number 1.
We've climbed back out.
But when you guys look at 2022 in AEW, like, what's your overall thoughts? Like, because for me, like, 2019, of course, was the kickoff of AEW. Everything was exciting. Here's this new promotion. 2020, it's hard to really say because it was a COVID year. It was Daly's place. They kept the doors open. They kept, wrestlers employed, kept paying them. Kind of started to find their footing. Then 2021, they really started rocking. Returned on the road in July, and then you had the big signing of Adam Cole and Danielson, and you had Malachi and CM Punk, of course. And then this year, some good things, but like we also talked about some bad things. It just seemed like it's kind of almost what could have been year, but yet I think they're turned a corner in 2023 on a promising note.
Mm-hmm.
So I had some notes written down, and I never take notes.
I'm right there with you.
And when we talked about doing this, year in review, the first thing that came to mind was to harp on Tony, because I think I've vented on this before, his lack of storytelling.
Right.
And not when I say, hey, we can tell a story, but the length of these storylines. Sometimes I felt like we're literally a week out from a major pay-per-view and we don't have some title matches announced.
Mm-hmm.
We don't build these feuds. Now, going back to what we've already talked about, the injury bug of 2022 happened. He had some personal issues happened. So, yeah, looking back at it, I'll give him a break. He had to do some stuff on the fly.
Right.
So, but that's what I guess I'm looking more forward to in 2023 is to see how he builds feuds and tells these stories over multiple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We got 2 shows a week, but it's only 3 hours.
Right.
It's not like we have 6 hours of television a week.
Right.
So
if you count Dark and Dark Elevation, you get pretty close.
I said television.
Hey,
not YouTube.
Hey, I'm a YouTube TV subscriber, so I mean,
You know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I want him to do that. I think with MJF and Danielson, don't bury this after a month.
No.
I could handle 2 or 3 matches between them, and it takes 4 to 5 months.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I know I don't know if we talked about this or not, Paul, but a couple weeks ago, Busted Open was talking about his match where he won the title, how green he looked.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We didn't talk about it, but
he only wrestled 9 times in 2022.
Yeah.
9 times.
Yeah.
I mean, if LeBron James, and I hate LeBron James, that's a bad example. He's an awful person. Who's the guy that scored 60 for the Mavs?
Luka Doncic. I was going to say Luka because Luka's the man.
So if Luka only played 9 basketball games in 2022, how sharp would he have been?
Yeah, he's not putting up 60.
Yeah, if he spread apart. So,
yeah,
hopefully we get to see him more. Now, he also made a comment in his promos like, I'm only doing pay-per-views. I'm doing the big money matches,
right.
yada, yada, yada.
Right.
You're not going to see me on Rampage, which, okay, I get. But, I mean, we need to see him wrestle at least once a month, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because
I think, yeah.
MJF's got the great gift. He doesn't have to wrestle every week because he's got the best mic skills in the game to where he can build a feud on the mic. But it's nice, yeah, like you said, if we see him keep his in-ring work fresh, smooth.
Do what they've done with every other champion and have title eliminator matches where you go up against the champion, they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Well, I know. I'm not saying call them that, but I'm saying put somebody in there that there's no way they're going to beat MJF, even if it's not for the title, but just to give him a chance to get out there for 5-10 minutes and kind of work on some stuff.
Well, hey, here's obviously they're going to be the next pay-per-view is going to be Danielson and MJF.
Which
Okay,
would be early March.
so
yeah.
Yes,
that's early March,
3rd
right?
or 5th or 9th, one of those 3.
So we got, let's just say we got 8 weeks. You know, right off the top of my head, you got Danielson and the BCC.
Mm-hmm.
Make MJF have a mystery partner. Let's do a couple tag matches. Let's that having him a mystery partner is the WWE way of drawing some ratings for a Wednesday night at 9:30 because the match is only going to be 20 minutes long. And whether you have somebody coming back or you pull somebody out of thin air, maybe the hottest indie guy, to do that, the hottest indie heel,
Mm-hmm.
You just give me 8 weeks of building them up and then have the match. I mean, I know it probably sounds a little old school, but
No, I'm all for it.
that's kind of what I'm asking for. So, in 2023.
No, I'm right there with you. It's some feuds need to be longer than they have. Others need to be shorter. I could have went with a shorter BCC JAS storyline. We've been on that since April and still going.
Yeah.
So
And there was no real big payoff.
No. Final battle, maybe.
yeah, the title changed hands, I guess, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But that wasn't AEW payoff,
Right,
and we've seen
right,
it on
right.
AEW TV.
right.
So,
Which I think we'll see a lot less ROH on AEW TV in 2023. So,
even
Warner's
TK is
not
kind of
happy
hinting
with
at
it,
that.
right?
yeah, I don't think Warner wants that push that's heavy right now,
Yeah.
which I get.
Which you're only seeing Claudio, Yuta, and
Joe.
So
Yep.
Yep.
Which I'm excited to see what the new look of Dynamite looks like next week. They're getting kind of a rebrand going into 2023. So new colors it looks like, supposedly a new stage. So interested to see.
We might have to change our colors up a little bit to keep up with them.
Maybe not. We'll see.
You'll have to wait and see what happens in 2023.
Exactly. All right. Well, let's get to our picks for 2022. We'll start with everybody's favorite match for 2022. Paul, lead us off. What was your favorite match of 2022?
All right, you can call me a mark all you want for this, but yeah, the Punk MJF dog collar match.
No, that's a good one.
Seriously, when I think of 2022 match of the year, that is the first thing that came into my mind, so I just went with it.
It was a brutal one. It was a good build-up. Punk bled like a stuffed pig.
Yeah.
We had the Wardlow turn. No, it was a really good one. I think a lot of people are picking that one as their top match. Good one. Shep?
mine didn't occur in AEW, but it occurred with AEW people.
How did I know that was going to happen?
FTR Briscoes.
FTR Briscoes.
Which
dog
one?
collar match.
3.
3.
All right.
But 2 was pretty damn good.
Yeah, they all 3 were good.
And 1 was pretty damn good too.
I thought maybe you might go FTR Aussie Open.
That was on the note. That was on the notes, but just the last match, and here's what sold it. If you remember, was it a week or 2 weeks after that when they came out and did their promo and they had the bandages on the forehead and Dax pulled his pants down and he had the big ass tailbone. Yeah. And I think he's put it on his Twitter a couple times. Like, this is how a Monday feels, and it's him getting superplexed on all those chairs. And God. He sent an ass picture update 2 days ago as they flew to Mexico, and it's still bruised as hell.
Oh God, those guys had a lot of internal bleeding going on.
Yeah, but that one took the cake.
There's a lot of good ones. I kind of went off the cuff a little bit. I chose Anarchy in the Arena. I just really enjoyed that at Double or Nothing. JS beat Blackpool Combat Club. That was just chaos. I mean, you remember Justin Roberts says, shit's about to hit the fan. And I'm cracking up. And then it did. It was just all over the arena. Crazy stuff happened. The turnbuckles come exposed. It was just fun. It was fun. And honest to God, tonight's match 6 of the best of 7 series might have made my top 5. I was watching. Usually my fiance watches it with me, but she was watching some documentary on Netflix. So I was in the other room watching, and she's like, "What are you yelling about?" Because I yelled 3 times out loud at some of the spots going on. Because I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Hey, Paul. It's
Yes.
not my fault this week with the explicit.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I know.
It's all me this week, making up for being out last week. So.
Yeah. I like how he says, "I'm going to keep it clean," and then just he's the
I did
reason
for
we got
40
to put
minutes.
explicit.
I did for 40 minutes, but no, a lot of good matches to choose from in 2022. We were pretty fortunate, pretty spoiled, as Shep and I say a lot when
Yeah.
he and I are on the podcast. We're pretty spoiled of what we get every week on free television. So.
Yeah, and speaking of, we got a couple of short stints from New Japan in AEW, and I thought Ospreay was amazing this year.
He and Orange Cassidy at Forbidden Door was a top 5 for me. And I'm not a big Orange Cassidy fan, but that match was awesome.
So I'm looking forward to him and Omega for the IWGP US title here in a week and a half.
Yeah.
Something like that. Whatever.
Next week.
Is it next week? Yeah, next week. So I'm not going to stay up and watch it at 4 a.m., but I will buy it and rewatch it the next day and not look at the dirt sheets or anything. But yeah, I'm excited for that one.
And we will have our predictions. We might not make them on the podcast because I'm still confused on the time difference and everything. But needless to say, there'll be a graphic be made, and I will put the title on the line against both of these guys at Wrestle Kingdom. So.
Well, I didn't do this. I did do it, but I lost. If I would have hit the Mega Millions, I was going to charter a plane and have us sit front row for that, but
damn it,
I lost. So.
Well, come on, Shep.
I think I got another drawing. Oh, shoot, it's tonight, isn't it? Wednesday, I don't know. If it doesn't hit Friday, I'll buy another ticket. If we hit Friday, we're going.
That's on a bucket list of mine and my pro wrestling fandoms to go over there and watch a Wrestle Kingdom.
But did you notice? So I was listening. Lance Archer was on Busted Open today. He just got back from a tour, and he just said it's weird. Like if they sell out 100% of the stadium, you can't cheer. If they sell half the stadium, you can cheer.
Yeah,
this is all COVID related stuff. But for Wrestle Kingdom, they're gonna let them cheer, but you can't sing like the entrance songs with them.
I did not hear that. Wow.
It's and he even made it. He says, "I don't even understand it." And I've been over there for a month.
Yeah.
So
hopefully that gets cleared up over there one of these days, and I don't know. That's a whole different.
Yeah, he said it's a whole different deal. He says when the government speaks over there, he said it's just tradition, and they listen and they do it. Mm-hmm. He said they had a sold out Corrigan Hall from what he just finished on December 23rd, but he said there was no cheering because it was a sold out Corrigan Hall.
Yeah.
So, which is weird because I guess it was a Friday night, but yeah. Anyways, if I hit the Mega Millions Friday night, we'll charter a plane and we'll go over there.
All right. I'm in.
You think StubHub has any of those tickets?
Probably. They have about tickets to anything you can think of. So it's just the price is usually up on StubHub anymore compared to some others. But what was your favorite feud of the year? We'll start with Shep for this one.
Favorite feud of the year, and it wasn't because of the matches. And I think I hit on it earlier, was MJF and Punk. Just because of the promos, the back and forth promos we got. And I would say I would put this maybe top of the year, the one where Max darn near cried.
Yeah, and had everybody feel sorry for him.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
Which, okay, for maybe one minute second, I'm like, damn, dude, you're real.
Yeah.
Then it was a work. I get it. So if it hooked you, he did his job. So yeah, that was my feud of the year. Just wish we would have got a little bit more of it, which
that was my feud of the year as well. I got it in my notes. If anybody doesn't believe me, I can put it up to the camera. And to piggyback off what you said, that 1 week Max gets everybody in their feels. The next week, he turns on Punk, puts the collar around him, busts him open, wears the nice white shirt that has the picture of him and Punk at that signing when he was young, and gets blood all over it, which AEW shop and has that one too. They have the clean version and the bloody version. That was just the details those guys put into the build-up to Revolution was amazing.
Yeah, it was, Punk did that a couple times this year.
He did.
When he talks about the details, remember when he knocked out Regal?
Yep.
He reread the email Regal sent him after his WWE tryout. I think it was a Tough Enough actually tryout.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And then I know he was an extra somewhere. Maybe it was a pay-per-view or he was an extra. He got hit by Goldberg, didn't he?
No, it was Samoa Joe pushed him.
Samoa Joe pushed him, yeah.
Yeah.
Which they could always do that in the future. Yeah.
Yeah. So
MJF's really good at the callbacks.
Yeah, those little touches that MJF does.
The
Again,
callbacks. Yeah.
Maybe not the most sound performer right now in the ring, but if he can get you hooked.
Yep. That's all that counts.
All counts. I hope he can keep up in the ring with Daniel.
Right.
Because we know how Daniel can go. We saw that tonight. I thought that him and Paige stole the show.
Paige is so underrated too.
Yeah, well, because he still gets made fun of for his green screen match. But I thought those two guys were awesome tonight. Now the high spots were in the trios match later on down tonight, which was awesome. But to kick off the show the way they did, I think they got two "This Is Awesome" chants going during that match. So
that crowd was hot tonight. That Denver crowd from start to finish, they've been itching for a show since early 2020. So.
Oh yeah.
But what were we talking about again?
Feud of the year.
Yeah, that was my feud of the year. Go ahead.
No, I agreed with you. I just piggybacked off what you said. So it's up to Paul. Is he making a 3 for 3?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I am involving Punk, but I just because of the fact that it is still being talked about months after the very short-lived feud of the Elite versus the Punk.
Didn't even get to see it on TV. You're just talking the backstage stuff.
Oh yeah, I know. So, like I said, very short-lived. But it is, like you said, it is the most talked about.
Yeah,
it is. It is.
It's probably been the most Googled AEW thing of all year. So
it's funny. Yeah. I saw somebody on Twitter yesterday like, "Hey, everybody, can we please stop talking about Punk going into 2023?" And then like yesterday on Twitter, there was more Punk talk than there had been like the last month because everybody's starting to speculate if he's going to come back or not.
There's one little tidbit out of the Elite Punk feud that I want to know. And I got to rewatch it to get the correct name. But I literally want to know how the bakery shop in Chicago, I want to know how their sales did for the 45 days after that. Because I feel like I bet you there was a line getting in that darn place.
Up 200%.
And the stuff that he was eating looked amazing. It was like
Mindy's Bakery.
Mindy. I was going to say Sarah's, but it's Mindy's. Yeah.
Mindy's Bakery. Yep.
Go hit up Mindy's Bakery when you're in Chicago.
And you know the thing I still.
If I go to that awful city, I will go.
The thing that is crazy to me is the presser after Double or Nothing. Punk seemed so happy. You know, that was after the match with Hangman. That was after the promo that supposedly made him so mad that Hangman went to business for himself. And then he brings it up, and gets ticked off about it 3 or 4 months later. I wonder if when he went on the shelf after Double or Nothing, he had so much time to think that he thought of everything over and he got pissed off. I'm thinking if he doesn't dive in the crowd and break his freaking foot, he gets so busy with the Summer of Punk and teaming with FTR and trios, which Tony said was the plan before he got hurt. None of this ever transpires.
Yeah.
So woulda, coulda, shoulda. Well, ifs and buts.
Well, I think if Punk's anything like me, he got so fired up over the Colt Cabana comments that were leading up to that week.
Yep.
That the way he started that press conference, you could tell the more he talked, the more ticked off he was.
Yep.
The more it made him mad, which there's been things in my life, the more I talk about it, the more I think about it, the more I stew, right?
I think we can also be there, yeah.
And then it just snowballed, and he's just like, dude, I'm already down this rabbit hole. I might as well just tell you how I really feel.
Yep. I'm going to be out 6 to 8 months anyways because I know I'm hurt. And, So, yep, off the races he went.
Oh, yeah. And Tony Khan just sat there. Oh, my God. He was – to this day, the gif of him drinking that sparkling water where he's taking a jug and he obviously chugs it too much. Oh, my God. Poor Tony. And we witnessed it in Indianapolis. The guy must be on a caffeine drip and I'm not accusing him. Don't yell at me. He's on cocaine because that dude is wired.
He's wired differently.
Hours a day.
He is
wired differently.
Nuts. Yeah.
He's nuts. I mean, the way he comes out, we just watched a 2-hour Dynamite and we're getting ready for the Rampage taping. He comes out and he's screaming. He's pumped up. He's yelling. We're coming back next November, which is awesome for Indianapolis. I love it. We had obviously a pretty packed house there. So
yeah, Tony's something else. I mean,
yeah. His coffee's got to be the strongest coffee in the world.
Look, I drink Death Wish coffee, and I'm not even like that, okay?
Well, I think, what is it? What's that coffee that's always advertised on
Black Rifle?
Black Rifle, yeah.
I'm not even a coffee guy, and I just hear the advertisements.
Well, it's made, I think it's designed by two ex-Army guys.
Military guys.
Military guys, and they were, supposed to be the strongest in the world.
This category, I think we're all going to agree with. Tag Team of the Year, 3 initials, FTR?
FTR.
Nope. They lost a lot, guys. They've been losing a lot.
Yeah.
I think the team that came out of nowhere is the Acclaimed. They're my tag team of the year.
I do like that answer though, because they're number 2 for me. So
and if you would have said June, July, August, it'd been FTR.
Yeah.
And as big as I'm an FTR guy. But the way those guys put themselves over, got themselves over, and what they're doing now. Now, I'm not a big fan of who they're feuding with now. You know that.
The rap tonight was amazing.
The rap was hilarious. But, I mean, those guys came from beginning to mid-carders to their main eventers right now, and they're holding the belts.
Mm-hmm.
So they worked their tails off. Not that FTR didn't,
right?
But because FTR is going to get a lot of more trophies from me later on. But that's my tag team of the year. The Acclaimed.
No. And I go back to All Out. Their match against Swerve and Our Glory was amazing. To where they had to run it back at Grand Slam, and then Acclaim took the titles off them. I mean, they stole the show at All Out with that match.
Yeah.
And the big thing, and this is maybe the one downfall to FTR. FTR, those guys, I'm guessing, just by guessing, they're mid to late 30s. Acclaim's mid 20s.
Right.
So,
right.
I think Max Caster is even younger than he's
younger than Bowens, I think.
He's Bowens. I think Max Caster is like 22, 23. So, for a 22 to 23-year-old to do that.
Well, 2 guys that were single competitors, and Tony thought they would just make a good tag team. He threw them together on Dark, and look what happened. I mean, amazing.
Yeah.
So, no, I went with FTR though for just holding so many straps at once and having all the banger matches. But I like Shep's pick too. So.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
All right, last one for our 2022 selections. Wrestler of the Year. Paul, lead us off with your Wrestler of the Year.
MJF. Again, I know we didn't see him much, but his mic work carries him every single time. When I think about people who have gone out and put on good matches, decent matches, and been able to carry a feud on the mic, I can't think of anybody outside of MJF.
Good pick. Shep, I think we know who you're going to pick, but go ahead.
The one, the only Dax Harwood.
Yeah.
Not only in his tag matches, but the individual matches he had. I saw on Sports, I think it was Sports Illustrated, he was 5th in all wrestlers, and Cash was 6th.
Yeah, I was surprised by that. That Cash made the top 10.
But
good for him, though.
Yeah, no. Just, the individual matches he had, I thought, and I guess I don't remember a lot of when they were in NXT and WWE as a Revival. His mic work towards the end of this year, I thought was darn good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had the promo about the 8-year-old girl, and they sold some T-shirts, which was his daughter. You know, they sold some T-shirts of it, but that was real, man.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he was. And I think I sent you guys the thing his wife got him some fancy bottle of tequila.
that was
hilarious. So he's my wrestler of the year, performer of the year, talker of the year. I mean, the dude deserves to get paid.
Yep. That's what I was gonna say. If money's his long-term goal, he accomplished that in 2022 because he's gonna get paid in 2023. So
here's the thing, though. With him, I obviously he needs to support his family. Okay,
right.
We get that. I don't know with him if it's about the money, though.
I know. I think it's about the creative freedom and the love of wrestling.
He loves the business.
Mm-hmm.
So, there's rumors that when their deal's up in April.
And that's the thing. Like, I was listening to Sean Ross Sapp today. FTR thinks it's April. Tony Khan thinks it's like June or July. So somebody's got to figure out when it runs out.
Anyways, they're dropping some straps.
Yeah.
They're cleaning house.
Dropped more tonight.
Thanks, Paul.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Told you I'd break your heart at some point tonight.
You're so damn negative. Anyways, they're freeing themselves up.
Yeah.
There's rumors that they just want to do indies. Like they want to pick their own schedule and do what they want to do. I'm guessing the indies is hot right now. There's a lot.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of indie promotions right now where I'm guessing they can go make a great living and do what they want to do. If they go back to Stanford, they're on a strict schedule, a strict vocabulary, a strict this, a strict that.
I don't see that happening.
So I don't know. Maybe they're going to take a break. Take 4 or 5 months off, come back, and screw it. I'm going to run all these belts back again.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. I think they do re-sign ultimately with AEW. Dax is not stupid. He's keeping his options open, even like on podcasts, like making everybody think they're keeping their options open. I mean, that's what MJF's doing, and they spend a lot of time around MJF, so they understand the angles there. I think I hope they re-sign with AEW, and I'm hoping, they just lost to the Gun Club or the Ass Boys last week. I'm hoping they're starting to lose these titles. I'm hoping we're seeing a storyline. They're going from the top down to the bottom, and they're going to work their way back up. That's the storyline I'm hoping they're going with. Like, we're going to see them lose a little bit, get knocked down, but then they're going to come up and eventually win the AEW tag titles.
Well, I know it's not as big a deal as it was in the start, but supposedly in AEW, the win-loss matters.
Right.
So if they lose a bunch, take a break, give them, they're going to take a vacation, take 3-4 months off, whatever,
right.
Resign and say, hey, look, we're the new guys again, Hell, have them wrestle on Dark.
Yeah.
I mean,
Kenny Omega did it.
Yeah, Omega did it.
I mean,
So I don't know. I think they will stay with AEW just because of the freedom they can do.
I agree.
If they go to Stanford, they don't have freedom. So
I agree.
Right. But hey, if their contract is up in April, I know an indie promotion that there's a guy who said he might be willing to pay the cost to have FTR at an event in June.
Hey, we could talk. I mean, I can tell you right now, the lodge is going to have to up their tequila game.
Yeah. That'll be in the contract.
By the way, you could not buy that type of tequila in this town. I tried because I wanted to have the
bottle itself.
Well, the one that he got for Christmas that's like a $400 bottle.
Yeah.
The normal bottle that he normally drinks, the white and the blue one, you can't buy in Rochester. So I tried both places. I was going to buy it for tonight, but yeah.
Maybe I'll have to look up here where I live. Maybe I can find it up here.
You probably can buy it at Captain Cork in Fort Wayne, but not in lonely Rochester, Indiana.
No.
Well, my wrestler, and I like both your selections. My wrestler, I was going to go with Jon Moxley, but I changed it. Even though I think Moxley's the face of the company, and him putting his vacation off, and I think he at this point he's screwed. I'm not having a vacation because he's on Rampage every week now.
He's too afraid to take a vacation at this point.
But I went with a guy I've been hyping up a lot the last few months, and that's Chris Jericho. I think for a guy his age, I thought he had a hell of a year in the ring. Became ROH champion, which I didn't see coming at start 2022. Had the run as the Ocho, which I didn't realize till Tony Khan said on Grapsody. It was his 8th reign as a world champion, which I knew that, to the Ocho. And he loses it to Claudio on his 8th defense. The 8s, everything about the 8s. I'm like, wow, little details there. That's why I like TK so much. He puts little details in, I don't even realize what he's doing. So I thought Jericho, I thought really all of his matches were pretty good. His feuds do go a little long, but I'm already intrigued by this next feud with Ricky Starks. So I'm going with the Ocho for my Wrestler of the Year for 2022.
All right, I can get behind that.
All right, and before we make our 2023 predictions, let's see how bad Paul and I whiffed on our 2022 predictions.
Oh, good Lord.
I'm good that I wasn't involved with these.
Breakout stars, we did 5 each. One of my breakout stars, I think I did pretty good on this one, was Jamie Hayter. She's currently the women's champ, so I think I did good there. Ricky Starks.
That's pretty good.
He's had a pretty good 2022. Ethan Page, I think he has upped his game a little bit, but I think he's got a little ways to go.
You're 3 for 3 so far.
Hook, which, I don't know, Hook was so hot to start the year, but...
I won't give any of my predictions away, but I think you're 4 for 4 so far.
And Wardlow.
You're 4.5 out of 5.
That's fair. That's fair. For Paul, he had Anna Jay.
Okay, when we made this time last year, they were really pushing her. Not my fault. She got caught making out with Jungle Boy, and her career flopped after that. She
sucks in the ring too. Sorry, that was mean. I'm mean.
Paul, I will say, went with 3 females, 2 males. So he went on a limb here.
Okay.
Tay Conti, probably right there with they got the win tonight though. Thunder Rosa, I'll give you that. She was women's champ at 2022.
Yeah, she had some great matches, and then unfortunately she got hurt. But
he also had Wardlow.
Okay.
And Sammy Guevara, which Sammy had an interesting 2022.
You're a 1.5 out of 5, Paul.
Well, here's who we thought would be holding the titles at this point. we guessed that trios were going to be introduced. So we were right there. But we both went with the same trios, and we whiffed bad. We had 2.0 and Daniel Garcia as the trios champions. That was a whiff.
Yeah.
TBS champion, I had Jamie Hayter, which she's the women's champion instead. Paul had Chris Statlander, which I like that pick. She just couldn't stay healthy.
Right.
Women's champion, I had Jade Cargill. I mean, she hasn't lost, but she's not the women's champion. Paul had Anna Jay as the women's champ.
I had a lot of faith in Anna Jay and what they were doing with her.
I think Paul got a crush.
It's all Jungle Boy's fault. No, I don't have a crush on her.
Tag titles, I was way off. Even without injury here, I don't think this team was doing it. Santana and Ortiz.
Oh yeah,
I thought they were long overdue for a title reign, but
they're not teams anymore.
They're not. Paul went with Darby and Sting, which actually I thought was a decent prediction. It just never came to fruition.
They were building it that way at the time.
TNT, I went with Hook. I mean, he's got the FTW now, but I thought maybe they'd push him a little. Paul went with Dante Martin for the TNT. In the world, I went with Wardlow. I fast-checked it a little bit because I even said Wardlow would beat MJF for it, so I was kind of wrong there. Paul gets this one right, though. He had MJF as his world champ. So
Good job, Paul.
he beat me in the titles. So.
MJF screwed me every time I either picked or didn't pick him in the year 2022. That is why I do not have my belt. And so I went with MJF.
I will say, Paul, you did something that was impressive. It was before Austin joined our podcast. You went perfect score at Revolution. Got
And
all
I
the
haven't
predictions
come
right.
And I haven't come close since.
Nope.
That was the last time I did anything right.
All right. Well, now it's time to predict 2023. This is where the fun begins. And, I don't know how many breakout stars you guys did, but I put 3 down. I did 2 males and 1 female.
Man, I did not do that many. I did 1.
That's fine. Who's your breakout star, Paul?
My breakout star, Ricky Starks.
All right.
All right.
I think that's a pretty safe bet.
I mean, I don't think I'm going to see him as world champion at the end of 2023, but they've given him that push that he needed forever ago when they put him with Team Taz that they failed to give him. And I think we're starting to see that. And I think we'll see that continue through the majority of 2023.
I think he gets a big win next week.
I think so too.
I think so too. I didn't have Ricky in there because I feel like he's already got the
kind of above that.
My big one, and I think tonight proved it. Hook.
All right, I can get behind that, Shep.
I think we're going to see more of him. Hopefully, we're starting to see him on Dynamite, just not Rampage.
Tonight was awesome.
I know he's worked a couple enhancement talents. I'm not going to call a good word. So yeah, Hook is definitely one. And just because he brought him up tonight, he wasn't on my list, but he's on my list now. Action Andretti. Obviously, Jericho has something for this guy. Mm-hmm. Jericho has so much influence in this company. He's going to push him.
Yep. I had Action Andretti as one of my males just because I'm right there with you. I mean, he beat Jericho. They're making a big deal about it. He got fireballed last week. Jericho brings him up on the promo tonight. He's going to be coming back soon. He's got to get involved in this story. He's not going anywhere. This one, I'm just hopeful because I like the turn, and I'm ready to see what this guy can do. Preston Vance. I'm ready to see what he can do. They got the mask off him. He's a heel now with Roosh and those guys. I'm ready to see what he can do.
He's got a great look, too.
Yeah. I mean, he's athletic. Brody Lee chose him for a reason. He saw potential in him. Then my female is Willow Nightingale. We're starting to see her more and more on TV. I think she's really ready to break out in 2023.
She was my female as well.
Paul, you have any females?
Willow.
Well,
yeah.
I think it's a pretty safe pick.
Yep.
Trios title. Who do you think will be holding the trios at this time in 2023?
Shep, you go first.
And I don't know why I thought this. I wrote it down first, and I don't know if it's just because I don't know. I have the best friends holding it down, and it's not Orange. It's Trent, the Kentucky Gentleman, and Danhausen.
Entertaining.
And that's the only thing I can think of, and I'm like, I think the Dark Order dissipates over this year, with Hangman and they're starting to lose members the way it is now. I think the Bucks move on. I think the Lucha Bros move on. I don't know. I think he's the stupid best friends. So that's who I got.
Paul, you mind if I jump in here?
Go right ahead.
I'm afraid this team's going to win it well before the end of next year, and I don't know how long they'll keep it. I got the House of Black. I think they take it off whoever ends up winning this best of 7 series eventually. I like what they're doing right now. They're just showing
Whoever
up,
wins.
kicking
Jeez,
the
we
crap
already
out of
know
people.
who's going to win.
Yeah, I think it'll be the Elite. And then I think, they when we were in Indianapolis, they laid waste to Cutler. And, Malachi made those comments to Cutler about it's not him, it's the guys that hold the power in the company. So I think there's something to that. And I think if, we can get them on TV as trios act, I think everybody's going to see how talented these dudes are. So,
I agree with you there, Tanner. And then I agree with you that they won't make it to the end of the year because I think you got to have Malachi as a singles competitor.
I do too.
He's too damn talented. So
that's I like your best friends because they're probably overdue to get some gold. To be honest, even though I'm not huge on them, but
could you imagine how entertaining Danhausen would be coming down with the title?
Yeah, he would be. He would be. So, Paul,
best friends.
No.
I also did not incorporate Orange Cassidy, but I did not incorporate Danhausen either. I incorporated Trent's tag partner.
Rocky?
Yes. Rocky Romero.
Yeah. Thank you. I wanted to say Ricky, and I knew it wasn't right. So I was just like, I'm just going to say Trent's other tag partner.
Well, let's go to the women's division, the TBS title. This is a tough one.
This was a tough one.
I got Willow Nightingale.
All right. I like that choice. I might like that choice a little bit better than mine, but I'm just sticking with my guns. I went with Ruby Soho.
God, if you went with what's her face, I was going to laugh at you.
No, I don't think Ruby needs the women's title, at least to end 2023. But I think having some gold on her would be beneficial.
This is a tough one because I still don't know if any of these women we're talking about takes it off of Jade. I don't know what they're going to do, but I have Chris Statlander when she comes back from injury.
See, if I would have picked Statlander, you would have laughed at me.
No, I wouldn't.
I get where Tanner's coming from on that. You're going to have somebody eventually take it off.
Yeah.
Of Jade. But I feel towards the end of the year, I feel like it's going to be sooner because Jade's got to go for the women's championship. So the better half of the year, I feel like that title is going to be passed around. Mm-hmm. And that's why I thought Willow would be a good fit for that.
And I could see that because she's lost to Jade a couple times, but they're really starting to build her up. So, well, let's stick with the women's division. Who's your women's world champ at the end of 2023? I think we all might agree on this, but I could be wrong.
First, Paul.
Jade Cargill. I think 2023 is the year of Jade. And I'm still not on the Jade Cargill train that everybody else is on. But I think the way they're building her, she's outlived the TBS championship. I think, as you said, Tanner, Statlander will come back, will take it from her. I don't think she's going to hold it at the end of the year, though, but she'll take it from her, and that'll free up Jade to move on to the women's division, the women's championship.
I got Jade as well, and why I was trying to explain my TBS prediction without giving this away is I could see Jade winning, holding both belts, and kind of relinquishing the TBS. So she never gets beat by somebody, but then it becomes open again and somebody else wins it.
I figured you two were going that way. I went with Soraya.
Oh, that would be a good one.
I hope we see her more. Obviously, I think we will. But I think Tony knows there's maybe limited time there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'm not just calling her damaged goods, but to put a title on her as big as a name as she is, yeah.
I'm starting to get excited about where the women's division is going in 2023 because if we can get Jade in the big belt picture, get Britt back in there, I think that's a money feud eventually. Thunder Rosa gets healthy, Hayter, Storm, and I think we're going to get a big time star join the company. I think January 11th. I think she's coming, boys.
Did you see her Twitter today?
Yeah.
I'm guessing she landed in Japan today.
Well, and somebody asked SRS today, because they said Will Washington of Fightful said he puts at 90% that she shows up at the AEW. SRS is 75 to 80%. So when those guys are throwing out big numbers like that.
Well, the other thing is I also saw that there's no it's just an appearance at WrestleMania.
Right.
And obviously Kairi Sane will be there.
Right.
Her and Kairi Sane in Japan. Cool.
Yeah. I mean, she's going to make big time money wherever she goes. I mean, I don't know if she'll be full time, but I think she shows up in AEW pretty soon.
Well, if she doesn't, you gotta have her and Saraya.
Yeah. That's that match on the 11th. You know, she's got a surprise partner against DMD and Hayter. So
yeah,
right there is a big time match. Especially if we see them put that in the main event, which I don't know if that would main event over the ladder match, but that's gonna be a big time Dynamite in 2 weeks.
If you got the ladder match as the main event, that's got to be your kickoff match.
Yeah, that's true.
I think the kickoff match even trumps your 8 to 9 o'clock hour match.
Yeah,
I always feel like that has to be a huge spot because they want to steal those ratings. But God, if you could kick that match off with that, holy shnikes!
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fun one in 2 weeks. All Atlantic title. This is a tough one.
Who's going first?
Whoever wants to.
I got it. Action Andretti.
Ooh.
All right. I went a little bit different here. Tying it back into the trio stuff, I went Danhausen.
Ooh.
I think he deserves a title run, and I think it'd be a good fit for him. We've seen it on Orange. We've seen Orange elevate it. Now let's have somebody else hold it.
Now, before you make your pick, Tanner, let me ask you guys a question. Would you consider this belt below the TNT title?
I would.
Yes.
Okay.
I call it equivalent to what the European title used to be in WWF.
Okay. So that's why I made my pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
I'm picking a guy that it was a few months back said he was going to come for this title, Ethan Page. But everybody's forgetting about that. Like when Stokely was going down the line.
No, I haven't forgotten about it. I just don't think the last Wednesday of 2023 we'll see Ethan Page holding it.
That's fair. I almost went to Takeshita. I was real close. So I think that would be a good fit for him.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to try to put it on somebody not from the U.S. more times than not. But, yeah.
If Ethan Page holds it, as long as he cracks open Jackalope, I'm okay with it.
You raggedy.
Yeah.
He was funny. That hat was funny tonight. Covering his
It
body.
was.
He was mouthing it. He was mouthing it too. Out of the.
He made me laugh 2 weeks in a row.
He knows what he's doing. Unfortunately.
Still want to punch him though.
I know. Let's stick with the mid card TNT, which I was surprised tonight. I thought Wardlow was taking it off Joe, and I was surprised. That swerved me.
Wheeler Yuta.
Man, I was all over the board on this one, and I'm going back to my original pick, and it's out in left field times 10. Dante Martin.
Yeah, it was Paul's pick last year.
Yeah.
They're ready for a big time push. They brought it tonight, man.
Yeah, they did, but I don't see him as a tag team.
Dante's got the bigger ceiling now, the two higher ceiling. I should say.
He hasn't been hurt 2 times where he took a bunch of time off.
That's true.
And when his brother was hurt, they still pushed him. So
right, it's true. Yeah, I like that pick.
That was the farthest fetch pick I've had on the whole card.
Oh, I feel like Danhausen's probably mine.
Yeah. Still not as far-fetched as Anna Jay last year, but
Hey.
Speaking of Anna Jay, I'm going Jack Perry as my TNT title holder.
All right.
Got to get some single gold on the guy eventually, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was on my list.
Yeah. All right, tag titles. I thought this one was hard.
You can go first, Tanner.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping these guys come back in 2023. Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly.
All right. All right.
I don't know. I mean, Cole's has back concussion. Kyle O'Reilly had neck fusion surgery, so I don't know if that's even possible. But if these guys come back, they're going to get big pops. I think you got to put them in big stories. I just threw it out there. I wasn't real proud of it, but maybe more hopeful than anything.
No shot for Bobby Fish.
No shop. He could stay in Impact Zone.
He won his boxing match.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
true.
he did.
With Sammy on commentary
Yeah.
or whatever he's
Yeah.
doing.
I don't know. I went with Top Flight.
I almost did that.
I mean, this was the hardest one for me to pick,
Yeah.
but they've done so well, and this one didn't even get picked until Dynamite tonight. With the showing they had tonight, I went, all right, they're going to be champs by the end of 2023.
I about switched it with the showing they had tonight, but I didn't.
Shadow.
FTR.
Yeah. It'd be good for that storyline. It'd be good for the storyline.
Yeah, it would. It would. They spend the whole year working their way back up to get the shot at the gold and win it the last minute.
I think in my perfect world, which I think everybody should live in.
Only if I can drive that pretty blue thing that's in your showroom.
I think going into Wrestle Kingdom next year,
2020.
they hold all four.
You think they climbed the mountain again?
Yep. So
That'd be cool.
I think they take a break. They come back mid to late summer, and they just work their ass off. They go to AAA, they go to New Japan, they go to ROH, and then obviously AEW. So I think at New Year's next year they're holding off for belts. That's what I want. That's what's going to happen. I've already sent an email to Tony Khan. He hadn't responded, and it might be blocked. But
He's a pretty busy guy.
Hey,
If you get through to him, tell him you know a guy who would be great to be a manager for a heel.
You know, that's true. Only if there's a lot of lakes around, you get through.
Yeah.
I feel like though, if you would ever send that guy an email or a message, it would be opened up at like 3:14 a.m.
Yeah.
Because he sleeps from like midnight to 2,
Yeah.
and then he goes to work.
Yeah.
So
let's be honest. It's kind of like Vince. I guess to be a successful wrestling promoter, you have to have a weird sleep schedule.
yeah, but I don't think Tony Khan sexually harasses a bunch of women. So
Let's hope not.
yeah.
Let's hope not.
Sorry, was that too much?
Nope. We've talked about it before on here, and it's truth. So, no FTW prediction from me. I don't know if you guys went with it, but I didn't even put in my prediction.
My prediction is I hope they get rid of the damn thing.
Yeah, I'm tired of it too. And I didn't do any ROH predictions. Did you guys?
I
do
did
any
not
of those?
either. Apart from obviously Shep did FTR as tag team champions,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I got FTR as tag team champions, and I know I'm maybe fast forwarding here. I'm saying in 2023, we see the Briscoes on national television.
Is that your bold prediction then? Or you got another one to holster?
I got some more.
All right, good. Well, let's do
I think you got to do it.
Yeah.
You got to do it.
yeah.
I think the fact that we got the like photo package from Final Battle, that's progress.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah.
all right, world champion by the end of 2023. Paul, you start.
This is going out there a little bit, but I think it's where he was going before he had injuries. I went Adam Cole.
Oh, all right. Shep,
MJF.
Think he's going to hold it all year.
Yep.
I almost.
All right.
They made a belt for him. So
I almost gave this away
They
2 or
made
3
a
weeks
belt for
ago.
Scorpio Sky too,
That was a sweet looking belt. He needs to be
and
back
he
in
lost
TV,
it.
speaking of him.
Yeah, but he was a freaking Lakers fan. Screw him.
Yeah, it was a cool belt, but yeah, I agree. I don't like the Lakers. I almost gave this pick away a couple weeks ago, and I had to like cover myself up real quick. Ricky Starks.
I almost went with him, but I thought that'd be too easy.
Look, I think you're going to see a lot of him in main events this year. And don't call me a Vince, okay? I don't
Too small,
think
right?
he's got the size and the look. He's too small. Now, can he challenge for it and perform in the ring? Absolutely, but could you really put the belt on him? I don't know, man. I second guess it because of his size. Nothing against his work or his mic work. I think his mic work's getting better.
If he does win it, how I would book it is I have MJF run through majority of 2023, get cleared through Full Gear. Ricky gets a rematch from this year's winners coming at next year's, and kind of like when Omega took it off Mox, Ricky takes it off MJF winners coming. So
I figure Paul's going with Satnam Singh.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh,
God. Smart Mark Sterling.
Jeff Jarrett for everything.
Jeff Jarrett will hold every belt, including the women's division's belts, by the end of 2023.
Hey, did anybody notice in that rap by Caster made fun of the Global Force Wrestling Gold?
Yep.
The gold he was selling to try to fund that wrestling program.
He hit everything you could. Oh,
yep.
There was gloves
stealing money like Kurt Angle's
Karen Jarrett tweeted about it. She's a little fired up. She's a little fired up tonight.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know what that means? You know what though? If he did that,
he got it approved.
He got it approved.
Yeah.
And she's just being a mark,
playing right into it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I like the Lethal line too. ROH's top guy at their worst point in the company, or whatever they said, lowest point.
And I love the fat machismo guy.
This was their best rap. They've had some good ones. This was their best one. So.
Yeah.
All right, bold prediction or predictions for AEW for 2023. I wanted us to go off the wall here, some craziness. So.
All right, I'll give my first one.
All right,
I'm going to be wearing gold. I will be the KOP predictions champion at the end of 2023.
No. We said bold prediction, Paul, not dumb.
Hey, that is a bold prediction based off of my record since I got a perfect card.
I think Anna Jay's got a better chance of getting around her shoulder.
Oh, ouch.
Ty Conti has a better chance of marrying Chris Jericho.
Hey, that could happen. That's possible.
Well, she is a homewrecker. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, boy, that's true, though.
He's not saying any falsehoods here.
I didn't like her beforehand, but that's all right.
Nope. All right. Paul threw one out. Shep, you got one?
Yeah. So 2023 prediction. You're going to laugh at this one. Dax Harwood will carry an individual title.
I don't think that's that far-fetched.
Yeah.
I think he proved he can do it.
And they were singles competitors going into NXT, let's not forget.
They were.
Okay. That's a good point. Good point.
So.
Well, mine might be a little bolder than these two, and this is something I don't really want to see. I just have a weird feeling we might see it. I think Bill Goldberg makes an appearance in AEW.
I quit.
No.
I think
I'm turning the TV off, and I will not be on that podcast.
I don't know if it's a one-off. I just have a feeling. I was reading stuff about his contract a couple weeks ago, and
his contract's not going to be.
It's up.
They're not going to pick it up, which they shouldn't pick it up because he's awful.
I know. I used to be a big Goldberg fan when I was young, but I'm thinking, AEW gets a lot of comparisons to WCW. Tony likes bringing these guys in, even if it's for like one-off or nostalgia. I just have a weird feeling he's got to pop up at some point in 2023 in AEW.
If he does, sorry, I cannot be on that podcast.
That's fair. I told you guys they weren't going to like it, but I was going bold.
All right.
Hope you don't take a drug test tomorrow, Tanner.
Yeah, well, I'm working from home.
Yeah,
Well,
you
know,
need
it
to
was
tell
either-
somebody to give you one because I think you're on something.
I could have went Shane McMahon.
There's a better chance. Well, hold on. Let me rephrase that.
If Shane shows up, the internet's just going to go with Vince owns AEW because they're already hinting that WWE has bought AEW
That's
because
stupid.
of something
That's
somebody
stupid.
said
Yeah.
once.
Look, I don't know. I don't think Vince McMahon has con money.
No,
Or let me rephrase this. I think they're so even that he doesn't have enough. He didn't have enough to trump him. So that'll never happen. My bold prediction, well, it's not bold prediction. You're going to see Vince McMahon in WWE in 2023 because there's already rumors about him. He's going to show his ass up, and it's going to kill it's going to hurt the company. Good. I mean, I don't own stock in them. I know it's a public traded company. But that's going to it's going to happen. That dude's ego is so big. There's not a lot of arenas he can fit in. It's so damn big.
And after he comes back and everything tanks, NBC will buy the WWE.
I think NBC will buy WWE in the next TV go around.
Yeah.
I think Universal will.
If that's the case, that makes sure that Shane, Stephanie, and Vince
and Paul and Paul probably too.
Yeah, I'll take my money.
Yeah.
Oh, wrong Paul. Sorry.
The game. You gotta talk like this.
Triple H.
Pretty much.
That time he beat up a fan
Yeah.
for jumping in a match.
Yeah. Pretty
Or that time that I just saw show up on Facebook earlier today that when him and Austin beat the holy crap out of Lita.
Yeah, I saw that. I've seen that.
Yeah.
It was just a tough spot.
Did you guys know 25 years ago tonight was Starrcade 97?
Yeah, I saw that. Bischoff called it shitty booking.
Fast count. You build the best build in a year and a half, and then you just ruin it.
Actually, you know what? Nick Patrick was one of the best officials. He was one of those guys that got involved in all the storylines. So I really enjoyed Nick Patrick back in the day.
Yeah. Well, it's still so stupid that's how they introduced Brett to the company with the whole playing off the screw job thing and just awful. And I saw yesterday was 24-year anniversary of the cattle prod at Stampede 98, which was in Denver with Scott Hall tasing Goldberg and Nash ending Goldberg's streak. And then I think next week, these are all bad WCW things, but next week is the 4th, next Wednesday will be the 23rd anniversary of the Finger Poke of Doom. Because Tony promised not to do anything like that on January 4th. So,
hey, there is nothing wrong with the Finger Poke of Doom.
Best bump Nash ever took in his career.
Yeah.
But any more bold predictions from you guys? Any talents you think we'll see pop up in AEW besides Mercedes or Bill Goldberg?
I have one more.
Okay.
By the end of 2023, we will get a graphic that this gentleman is all elite. And we've seen this man. Dan the Dad will be all elite by the end of 2023.
I can get on board with that one.
So could I. I mean, he went from nothing to he's blown up on the internet, and that's the type of guys that Tony looks for.
But his normal entrance song, he can't go out to.
Right.
Yeah, he'll have to switch something up, and they've got a whole freaking department of.
Well, Tony's got a checkbook.
A guy.
Yep.
I mean, he goes out to Kansas Wayward Son is what he normally goes out to.
Yeah.
Unless the elite let him borrow that for a night or something, but
Yeah, probably not.
yeah,
Probably not. No.
Probably not.
No,
Unless they get bored with it and stop using it by then.
well, they're too busy about working at their targets too.
Got to get those discounts out.
Yeah.
You got any debuting talent ship that you can think of?
Yeah. My debuting talent of 2023 is the Briscoes.
Yeah, I like it.
They will be somewhere. They have to be.
Yeah.
They're on the payroll, okay? At some point, Tony's going to have to lobby and say, I'm paying these guys. They're good. Just because they made a mistake in the early 2000s, stuff happens.
Yep.
They're coming on television.
My other one besides Goldberg debuting would be Kota Ibushi. I think we get him. I don't think he's a full-time talent, but I think we get him in a few matches in 2023 in AEW. But Mega wore a Ibushi shirt tonight in the Falls Count Anywhere match. So
He did.
a little Easter egg there. So
going into 30 days ago, I was really hoping we'd get a Sami Zayn or KO, but listening to them over the past 30 days and that those guys are completely satisfied where they're at.
Yep.
So yeah.
Any talent you guys predict leaves AEW to go elsewhere in 2023?
Miro.
I was gonna say Miro until once again SRS today said Miro's locked up with so many years left on his contract. Unless Tony just lets him out of it, he doesn't see any way he can get out of it.
Well, let's not forget, we haven't found out what's going on with Andrade. We don't know what's going on with Punk.
And he's got a lot of years. He's got a lot of years left. So.
Well, 5 minutes before we logged on, Dragon Lee signed with WWE today.
I did see that. Yep, on my phone while I was sharing this earlier. So yeah.
That's Rush's little brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
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 I have no idea what their contract status is, but
and you got to think, we're coming up on the first wave of like the original AEW contracts. So, I think somebody maybe like Lance Archer leaves AEW. I don't think we'll see anybody huge maybe this year, but
did anybody listen to Lance Archer's interview today on Busted Open?
No. I just heard what you said about it. But
he was frustrated. He's frustrated.
As he should be. Had
he is 100% all in.
Okay.
No pun intended to AEW. Yeah, he had a great run over in New Japan, and he basically patted Tony on the back saying, hey, look, maybe because I feel underutilized in AEW, but you give me the freedom to go over and do the main event stuff in New Japan. Mm-hmm. He did the Junior Tag League. He did the G1 Climax. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 2023 is going to be fun. If it's anything like 2022, it's going to be a crazy year for pro wrestling because like 22, like I said, we got Cody Rhodes leave a company he helped founded, go back to WWE. We had Stone Cold come out of retirement. We had Vince McMahon leave WWE. We had CM Punk and the Elite getting a fight and suspended. MJF take a hiatus almost from the company. So many storylines that happened in 2022 is one of the craziest, if not the craziest year in pro wrestling. That's just WWE and AEW speaking. Other promotions had their own storylines. So
right.
It's going to be fun.
So I have another bold prediction that just came about while we were sitting here talking because you two gentlemen were talking about it. Somebody who signed with WWE, and it piqued my interest because I knew I had seen the name. We've seen this happen once so far under Triple H's reign, where a WWE talent holds a belt for another company. Dragon Lee is one half of the AAA Tag Team Champions. He's one of the gentlemen that helped beat FTR tonight. And he's in WWE.
And you got Carl Anderson, the never is it never open weight?
Yeah, I believe
never open weight.
Yep.
Never open weight champion over in New Japan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to see WWE start to work more with outside promotions.
Which I think if Triple H can get that done, freaking even better for us fans.
It is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
More companies that can work together. And, I know we all prefer AEW over WWE, but it's good that these wrestlers have, multiple promotions, but two really big American promotions now. They can pick and choose. We're going to see a lot of hopping back and forth the next few years. And that's what was fun about the Monday Night Wars. People were hopping back and forth all the time.
Yeah, and towards the end of this year, at one point I was a big fan of them. They wore on me towards the end of the year, but obviously Tony Khan came out and said, I'm not a big fan of working with GCW.
Right.
Just because of some of the stuff they did. I know Mox did his things with Nick Gage. The Briscoes came and worked a segment with GCW. They held the titles real quick. Daniel Garcia worked some GCW events this year. Ruby Soho worked some Thunder Rosa. I mean, they had a relationship, but towards the end of the year, I felt like that relationship went south, and the reason it is Nick Gage, when he retained the title, beat the title for Mox, because of Tanner's favorite lawyer, or Jackalope, whatever he is, and Big Bill Morrissey, Bob Dog, whatever the hell they call him now.
Big Bill.
Stop. So dumb. So dumb.
You said you were going to do every other name but it, and I told you I was going to do that accent every time. Big Bill.
So dumb. Anyways, Nick Gage got on the mic and basically smashed AEW, saying, you're not going to let us work together in short. So, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of GCW's biggest pulls is going back to WWE anyways. So I think Cardona's going back.
I think Cardona's going back with his wife.
I think it's a horrible kept secret. So I think he'll be a Rumble. I'm surprised. So
he's got an AEW or not AEW NWA match coming up, doesn't he? What time?
Yeah, I'll be sure to watch that. My God.
Might as well call them the Funkadactyls.
Oh, he's awful.
There's a reason Nick Aldis left.
If he was ever join AEW, then you two are carrying the podcast. I'm out.
No.
I'll be going back and watching Mondays and Fridays again if that happens.
The Funkadactyls were the best thing about that group.
Hey, where do you guys predict Nick Aldis shows up?
Wherever Nick Aldis feels like. The couch in his living room.
Well, I think Mickey ends up retiring from Impact soon. She has a title versus career match coming up.
Well, if he shows up in Impact, he's Magnus.
I think he'll show up in WWE. I think he'd be a good fit there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I think, I don't know. It'll be interesting if Tony signs as many people in 2023 as he did in 2022.
He signed a shit ton.
But he was granted a lot in cuts, too. I mean, Keith Lee, Swerve Strickland. Yeah. A lot of others I'm forgetting.
So what's the top 5 guys that Tony cuts and just lets them go?
Wow.
That's a good question.
Man.
I think Andrade's up there. I think he cuts Andrade before he would Miro. You can do stuff with Miro.
Both of those guys are on
Andrade too, but Miro they supposedly just don't have creative for.
Well, they had creative and he turned it down.
Turned it down, which we never heard who it was against. Man, that's a good question.
I could get rid of Sabian.
Yeah.
I'm over him all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And there's a bunch of undercard guys like Luther's.
One guy I was thinking
I'm still sick of that dude. Get rid of him.
There's one guy I was thinking tonight, and I like watching this guy work, but without his manager, I don't know where he fits in. Luchasaurus. Without Christian, we haven't seen him since he lost to Jack Perry in that cage match.
I didn't like him in Ring of Honor.
I don't know where, without Christian, I don't know where he fits. I don't know where he fits.
Drop the Luchasaurus gimmick, rebrand himself, come back, do. Okay, this is Shep. You might remember this. I don't know if you will. Do like a Matt Stryker scenario. Have him come back, address the fact that he's got these degrees, and try to educate the fans.
I don't want to watch a teacher again.
No, maybe not in the aspect of put the chalkboard in the middle of the ring.
Stryker was like the PG version of Mean Posse or whatever those vested rich boys that used to run with Shane O'Mac were. Mean Street Posse. That's what Stryker was. He's a PG version of them.
I know, but I'm saying, have him do promos and stuff where he talks about how smart he is. Keep him as a heel, but bring in his true knowledge.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if they take that mask off him, because I'll admit this, I watched Big Brother. He was on that reality show. That's all I'm going to think of him whenever I see his face is Big Brother.
Yeah.
When he got fired from NXT, he was on Big Brother. Yeah. Because I had not heard of him at the time. And then
was that before ROH?
Yeah. I think it was actually like right before Lucha Underground.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's way back.
Yeah, it was between like NXT and Lucha Underground. Yeah.
I didn't know he was with NXT.
Because it was like on the lower third, it would say professional wrestler or something. I'm like, I've never heard of this guy. And I looked him up and go, he's fired from NXT. And then when I found out he's Luchasaurus, I'm like, oh my God, that's the same guy. He actually made something of himself.
Yeah, and he brings that up in an episode of BTE when he's hunting for his tail.
No, Jesus. I'm about to log off now because I didn't think we ever got to talk about that again.
Hey, we're talking 2022 here, aren't we?
That's true. Was that in 2022?
I don't know.
Well, I thought it was 2020.
It was so terrible.
I think it was 2020.
It might have been COVID related. I don't know. It's just, it was the worst BTE segment I've ever seen.
Let's get rid of Nick Nemeth while we're at it. Get rid of him.
Yeah, we can get rid of Nick.
Fire him so I don't have to see him on BTE anymore. It's ruining the vlog.
Yeah. The only reason he is there is because he's Dolph's brother.
I know.
So I got one guy in mind. I'll ask you guys, and this was not in any of our conversations before. What's one AEW guy that you think shows up in WWE next year? Now, I know we don't know everybody's contracts, but just off the top of your head.
This guy's a title holder right now, but I know his contract's got to be coming up, and I know he was pissed at one time, but now he's in a lot better spot with the company. I'm going Brian Cage. He's got the look that, Vince isn't in charge anymore. Vince loves those muscly dudes, but I'll stick with Cage because I can't think of anybody.
You know what? I'll go with the guy that's hanging behind me on the wall.
Dustin? Yeah.
Dustin said he would have his final match in 2023.
I could see that.
So his contract comes up. He goes over to do backstage stuff with Cody.
Yeah.
You're going to laugh at me. Sammy Guevara.
I could see that. That doesn't seem very off the wall to me. So
I'd be fine if he did.
He has made a lot of comments about him and Cody and their friendship, and there's been a couple of other guys who have talked that way, and I've always gotten that vibe from Sammy. Then they put him in the Jericho Appreciation Society, and I went, his contract's up, he's going with Cody.
I think Scorpio's got a big contract, or I would say him. I think he just signed like a 5-year extension in like February when he had the TNT title. So he had me on TV. He's like Miro. They don't know what to do with him.
Right.
So, yeah. Good stuff. We'll see how it all plays out. And but
now
before...
You wrote all this stuff down, right, Tanner?
I'm going to tomorrow when I re-listen to it so I can keep track of it. But before
We're going to make some graphics?
I'll make some graphics too, so we can always look back on how bad we did. Before Paul wraps us up, I want to thank everybody who has listened and watched the Kicking Out podcast this year in 2022. We saw some really good growth, especially on the YouTube channel this year from 2021 to 2022, and looking forward to growing more in 2023. We enjoy doing this with these two gentlemen every week, and as long as we keep on enjoying doing it, we'll bring you new content every week that we can. So now, Paul, you can wrap us up.
Well, before I wrap us up, I'm going to kind of follow in your footsteps there and go, you're talking about growth. Yeah, we started as two. Not sure what day to do, when to do it, how long to make it. We didn't want to do it over an hour, and here we are 10 minutes shy of 2 hours, and we could probably keep going if it wasn't, a quarter after midnight, our time right now.
Yep.
But we've added Austin Shepard. Yep. The podcast keeps growing. We have we went from no merchandise store to 2 merchandise stores this year. Even ended up with a URL for one of our merchandise stores instead of go to here dot this / that, add 700 numbers.
It's true.
Shep used to have some number that he rambled off that I was trying to remember where he was at.
Well, I gotta thank Shep. He's the one who reached out one time. I think it was actually the week that Cody Rhodes announced he wouldn't come back. You did a solo show, Shep, which is hard. Or Paul, geez, I can't talk. Which is hard to do. I remember doing one, and it's hard to do. And Shep texted me, goes, "If you ever need a fill in, I'll take a crack at it." And he became our co-host. He was from fill-in to co-host pretty quick.
Pretty quick, yeah. I've got to say it's been a great year. Looking forward to 2023. Thank you so much for joining KOP.
Yep.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. Thanks for Tanner to basically say, hey, if you want to do it, do it. I filled in with Tanner, and it's been about 3 years ago on your other sports podcast.
Yeah. 2019. I just saw that, but it popped up on my feed the other day.
2019?
Yeah.
And then I did a podcast with a buddy of ours, professional golfer, Chris Smith. We did it in Tanner's basement. We did it over racing, which is another my wife would hate me, or my wife does hate me about this, but I literally watch professional wrestling or I watch dirt racing. So tonight we're watching professional wrestling, but on my laptop, as I'm watching professional wrestling, I have a dirt race in Tulsa, Oklahoma called the Tulsa Shootout. And there's 1,500 little dirt cars down there running. And that's my 2 gigs. I don't care about, I shouldn't say, I don't care about the NFL. I don't care about the MLB. I don't care about NBA. These are my 2 gigs. So yeah, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it. And I'm glad I could take you down rabbit holes you never thought you would go down.
That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it fun.
I told him last week that he mentioned something that I said we could just do a whole episode over, and we may just have to do it one of these nights. The 3 of us get on here and just dive into professional wrestling rabbit holes.
I could just do it because I've been on a kick these last few months watching old WCW stuff, and I could just go on for days about rabbit holes of that company.
You look a lot like Vince Russo.
Oh, I should log off right now.
Isn't that like the 12th time he said that tonight?
Oh man, that was me.
Here's the thing: you say you're going back and watching them. Shep and I remember watching them as they happened.
Oh. Yeah.
I remember 98, 99, but then I stopped, and I don't remember anything before that. So.
Yeah. I remember watching the NWO as it formed.
That's
so
I'm jealous.
So what does Bischoff call his pot? 86 weeks, right?
83 weeks.
83 weeks. So 83 weeks that WCW beat WWF.
Yep.
And I was a young teenager watching. I watched those 83 weeks. I remember that. And it was nuts. It was crazy. I wish I had a better memory as I did as a teenager, but I've had too much fun of late. But yeah, I remember. I personally watched for weeks, I watched WCW over WWF.
Mm-hmm.
I never even tuned in
Mm-hmm.
until Bischoff thought he'd be Mr. Mark and say, "Hey, look, watch our program. We're live. Mick Foley wins the world title."
That'll put butts in seats, Shivani says.
I was still, I think I was still living in another town at the time, not Rochester. Either way, USA and TNT were back-to-back channels. So my little TV, my little box TV, right? We have no flat screens back then. I'm old. All you had to do was hit one button and you would go back to – they were back channels. So guess what I was doing? I was watching Mick Foley win the world title.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, I started shifting away from WCW.
Yep.
So,
That's what did it for me. The very first time Bischoff got on the TV and said, "Look, we're live. Here's what's going to happen over there tonight." And I went, "Ooh, I wanted to see that."
Yeah. We all loved Mick Foley back then.
Yeah.
That's still one of the loudest pops I've ever heard. When Stone Cold came down as his entrance music hits, takes everybody out, puts Foley over Rock. McMahon's reaction, just, perfect.
Yeah.
It's hard to beat. Mm-hmm.
And Shep, you talk about going back and forth between the two. I have you beat. I had a 36-inch TV in my living room. So, again, we're old. So that thing was huge back then.
That was the monster.
I had picture-in-picture. True picture-in-picture where you had two separate channels.
I didn't even have picture-in-picture.
So I had WCW on one, WWE on picture-in-picture, and then I'd flip them if a good match came on. So I'm just constantly watching both of them.
Yeah, I didn't even have picture-in-picture. I had like a freaking 24-inch TV in my room. That
I had a 12-inch in my bedroom. So yeah, I didn't have that, but I got to stay up till 9:00 on Monday nights, unless something good was happening. Then I got to stay up till 10 if my grades were good as I got older. But I'd watch till 9 live and then hit record on the VCR and tape the rest of the show so that I could watch it back the next day.
Well, the professor had some strict rules.
Yes.
That's good stuff. That is good stuff.
Yes,
Going
he did.
down nostalgia memory lane there. So,
see, we could go over that. There's a whole podcast right there.
Maybe some night we will. We switched up tonight's format, and it's ran us a little long, but it's all good. We had a lot to talk about. So.
Yeah. All right. Guys, it's getting late. I've got to be up at 5 hours from now. I know Chef's got to be up pretty early. Tanner's going to sleep until 10 to work from home.
We're pretty privileged.
Yeah. But all right, be sure to follow the Kicking Out Podcast on all social media at Kicking Out Pod. Be sure to listen to the Kicking Out Podcast wherever it is you listen to your podcast. And if it happens to be Apple Podcast, give us that 5-star rating because we want to be 5-star KOP by the end of 2023. There's another bold prediction for you boys. Be sure to check out the Kicking Out Podcast shop. It's kickingOutshop.com. I don't know how much longer this runs, Tanner. You can confirm this, but as of right now, at this very moment, it still says use code HOLIDAYS at checkout for 25% off your order.
Runs through the 31st.
So you got 2 more days. You can use that code to get some nice looking t-shirts, hoodies, coffee mugs. Shep, we haven't had any big mugs on there like you use though. Not yet.
Well, we got.
We'll get some KOP one of those for you.
Tanner would appreciate this one.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
I might get sued for that because I got sued before. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, we could go down rabbit holes there too. So
yeah. Rabbit holes we could go down, boys.
Good being a wrestling fan.
Yeah. Be sure to follow your Kicking Out Podcast predictions champion Tanner Lee on all social media at Tanner Lee 92. I know, Shep, I said it, but it was hard to say. I'm hoping by this time next week, one of us, or 2 weeks from now, one of us is holding that thing. Be sure to
over here.
Yeah, you'll have it up there. I'd have it over my shoulder. But at least the belt made an appearance tonight on the podcast. I wasn't
waiting.
sure
I was
it
waiting
was
for the
going
perfect
to.
time. So
All right. Be sure to follow Austin Shepard on all social media at theshep27. And be sure to follow myself at Paul Zartman 921. And with that, join us in 2023 for a whole year of Kicking Out Podcast.